Hello everyone and welcome to Flickering Myth. My name is EJ Marino and we have a brand new movie review today. We're diving into the Bob Odenkirk starring Nobody. In this new action comedy, we will talk about the tone and the genre of this movie in a bit, but in the new film Nobody, Bob Odenkirk stars as Hutch, a middle-aged dad who is kind of lost in the world. He is doing that routine where he's, waking up, missing garbage day, he's going to work, him and his wife aren't really connecting with each other. That all changes the night that this family deals with a home invasion, and he doesn't really kind of come up to the task of defending his family, and it really changes him. It kind of unlocks something in him that he hasn't felt in a while, and from that night on, he is this badass action killing machine. It is pretty crazy to watch Bob Odenkirk kick some ass in this movie. I just wish I liked the movie itself a little bit more. This was an interesting viewing for me because there was moments where I was really invested. I was just like, this hand-to-hand combat is dope. This kind of action scenes are being filmed really well, but when it wasn't an action scene, I was bored out of my mind. This has been getting a lot of John Wick comparisons, but I find the universe, the world of John Wick, way more fulfilling, there's just more stuff I can sink my teeth into here. When it wasn't that, it was just boring marital drama. It was just Bob Odenkirk trying to figure out his place in life, but it really doesn't even go that far. This movie doesn't have as much substance as I wanted. It has plenty of style. It tries to do the absolute most with everything, with the loudest music, the most editing, a lot of crazy action and gore, but when I actually go to the story, I'm not as invested in this man's journey as I am other films like this. If you look at stuff like Taken or John Wick, I'm like, oh, I see what this dad is going through. I want him to get his kind of revenge. And now here I'm just like, yeah, sure, I don't really understand what your point is, what your job was before this. This movie doesn't do a lot of coloring in the lines. It just presents these pretty cool action scenes. I will admit, I do like the fight scenes, but besides that, there isn't much in this movie to enjoy. This comes from the director of Hardcore Henry. Do you remember that movie a couple years ago, that first-person film where it was this crazy action movie and it was just kind of like a live-action video game? That is kind of here. This movie has a lot of style. The editing is kind of obnoxious. That's the word I will use at times. It is just so in your face. This gets compared to John Wick a lot, but the way it's edited, the tone of this film also reminds me of things like Edgar Wright movies or the Kingsman movies. It is just so fast cut, everything. We have to we just don't let a scene move on before we do a crazy kind of edit just to get forward there. It's a lot of those repeating stuff. You can think of the Edgar Wright or the Sam Raimi, let me build the chainsaw moments. There's a lot of kind of little edits like that, and I find it to be kind of distracting. I think this movie could have chilled out a little bit, scaled itself back, kind of done longer takes, do more long scenes, don't do all these frantic editing, and it could have been way better. This is edited for a very young demographic. It feels like it's trying to keep you interested and, invested, but in reality, this movie is like a dad movie. This is a movie I would suggest to my stepdad and be like, hey, you'll have a good time. It's an action movie. It's about a dad. You'll enjoy that. But I just think the editing feels so youthful, but the plot feels so mature that I'm just it feels like it's fighting with each other, which is also how I feel about the tone of this movie. This movie goes from serious action and very dramatic moments to kind of comedic moments in the same breath at times, and that can work if it's done correctly. But I think I got tonal whiplash in this movie. I was just like, oh, what are we doing? What is the scene trying to tell me? Am I supposed to be invested in the scene in an emotional way? Am I supposed to be blown away by the action, or am I supposed to be laughing? I don't know what the movie wants from me, so it was left me conflicted. There is things I do enjoy. I just found the whole filmmaking side of this to just be strange. It goes down to the edit. It goes down to things like the loud 70s, 80s rock music that they had to play for a lot of these scenes. There was a lot of popular needle drops in here that are just so perfect for your dad's yacht life playlist, and it's just okay, sure, I don't really love all these songs, but I know that there's going to be a demographic who loves these songs, who loves these edits. I just don't know who that demographic is.
I used to be what they call an auditor. The last guy anyone wants to see at their door.
Now, I do think the acting in this movie does carry it through a watchable viewing. I don't think this is the worst movie I've ever seen because of the acting. You have Bob Odenkirk in the lead role doing a fantastic job. He does well with the fight scenes. He does well trying to balance the tonal issues of this movie. You also have Connie Nielsen, who is there as the wife character. I wish she had more to do other than be the wife, but I don't know. Did I want her to have an action scene? I don't know, but I wasn't even there for their marriage stuff, so she was just kind of like a blank, beautiful woman, but it's Connie Nielsen, and she was cool, so I won't, I don't hate that she's here. One of the biggest surprises for me was Christopher Lloyd in this movie. Yes, Back to the Future Christopher Lloyd shows up in this and has a pretty interesting role. I wasn't upset that he was here, but it was just another oh, isn't that cool? That's an actor that we know from back in the day who's older and kicking ass now, and it's just that's cool. I feel like this whole watching an older actor kind of redeem themselves as an action star is kind of passe. It's been done since Taken, Red. I mean, this has been happening a little bit now. I just was okay, sure. But I do think these actors really do carry the weight of this film. You also have the fight scenes that are so explosive and badass. The choreography and the cinematography really work together there. I think this movie has a lot of issues with things clashing with each other, but I think the cinematography and the fight choreography just blend beautifully. I was invested. There is a scene in a bus that is just dope. It goes on for a while as well, which I thought was nice. It was kind of the slowest the movie got when I actually was let's sit in this fight scene for a little bit more. Oh, now we're dealing with Russian mob drama? What the hell was that? Yeah, I was invested in the fight scenes. Did I want this movie to just be an hour and a half of fights? Maybe I would have liked that a little bit more. There is going to be a group that is very into Nobody. I am not saying this is a bad movie. It's just, I don't think, a great movie and not a movie for me. I definitely want to say this is something that I didn't personally enjoy, but it's a personal taste thing. Those kind of vibrant, crazy edits, the loud 70s and 80s popular songs, and the kind of tonal stuff is really going to work for people. It didn't work for me, but I am going to say this comes with a light recommendation. If anything I've said as a negative works for you as a positive, definitely check this out when you get a chance, because it is worth the viewing. I don't think this is a bad movie. It's just not a great film, and it kind of just goes, that is it for my review of Nobody. What did you guys think of this video? What do you guys think of this movie? Are you interested in seeing Nobody? If you've had the chance to see it already, let me know what you think down in the comments below. Make sure you guys subscribe to Flickering Myth because we make videos like this every single week, and give us a thumbs up if you did enjoy this. Alright everyone, let's talk about Nobody down below.